There's so much power in vulnerability and storytelling. Like, you really are healing parts of yourself, but you're also healing parts of other people when you are doing that. And I think that that's like, again, I said I feel like I've always been vulnerable, but I probably did take it to a next level because I'm seen by so many more people now.
Welcome to the Prosperity Playground, the podcast where business meets energetics, strategy meets soul, and prosperity becomes inevitable. I'm your host, Anna Lozano, mom, founder, investor, mentor, and energetics in business expert. This is your weekly activation to rewire how you think and feel about wealth, success, and personal power, because it's not about working harder, it's about regulating deeper, aligning stronger, and receiving wider. You don't hustle for your future, you calibrate to your higher self. Join me weekly for high-level conversations with the world's most inspiring entrepreneurs, creators, and thought leaders. True prosperity isn't just about money. It's about alignment, freedom, expansion, and embodying your worth. Welcome to the playground. Let's build your most prosperous life. Welcome back to the Prosperity Playground podcast. Today, I'm joined by Kelly Chase. Kelly is an entrepreneur, social influencer, podcast host, speaker, and reality TV star, best known for her role as a castmate on the breakaway hit Netflix show, Love is Blind, Season 1. With over 350,000 followers on social media, Kelly uses her platform and voice to inspire others to chase life and make the most of where they are in their journey. It is part of Kelly's life's purpose to teach all that she has learned to women all around the world, and she believes that if she can feel this newfound confidence, inner love, worthiness, and expansion, that she can help other women feel the same way and empower them to fully step into their greatness. In this episode, we dive into the real behind-the-scenes lessons of being a cast member on Love is Blind, Season 1, identity evolution after instant fame and why the nervous system has to catch up first, vulnerability, subconscious reprogramming, and the money-love connection. Connect with us on Instagram and let us know what resonated the most from this episode. We'd love to expand together, and we hope that you enjoy this conversation. Let's dive in. Kelly, welcome to the Prosperity Playground podcast. I am so pumped you're here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad we recently connected.
Exactly. I was going to say that we recently connected through Carrie Ford, which is so fun. And then you're also friends with Danielle Amos, who's a good friend of mine. So the worlds are colliding, which I always love.
I love it too. I know, it's like we've probably been like 3 degrees of separation for a while.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
And now it's come full circle and we're recording together. I love it. So you were season 1 of Love is Blind. I was thinking like season 1, I have religiously watched every season. How many years ago was that now?
So, it aired in 2020, February of 2020.
2020?
So,
That's it?
yeah. It was the pandemic. Yeah, we filmed it in October, November 2018, but then it aired.
Because we're so many seasons in, and I was like, was this a decade ago? I was like, there's no chance. Oh my gosh. Okay, so 2020 it aired. I would love to jump in and just share a little bit about the experience, what you think really being on Love is Blind was there to teach you, but also give us the juice too, all of it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, incredible experience. I think the number one thing is people always ask me, how did I get involved with that and everything? And this journey, it's crazy.
Tell us everything. I want to know everything.
Everything. Okay, so because it was a pilot season, we were the first ones. There was no application, so we were all poached. We were reached out to and recruited for whether it's through any type of social media platform. I, on the other hand, got a phone call because they had my file from when I had interviewed for Married at First Sight.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And backing up from there, so Married at First Sight, that was maybe in like 2014, I think. And I think Atlanta was the pilot season for that too. But regardless, I received a text message from one of my ex boyfriends, and that we were friends, amicable, you know. And it just said like, "Hey, Cal, there's like some casting for like a dating show here in Atlanta. I can't do it because of my job, but I gave them your
Oh
information."
my gosh.
And we had been broken up for maybe like a year and a half at this point. And it was, I will say this, like, if you go back and watch Love is Blind season one, I reference a particular ex boyfriend. It is said ex boyfriend.
Yes. Yes.
Because he was at the time my last ex boyfriend. I have been, minus this 7.5 week relationship that I had with Love is Blind, I have pretty much been single for 12 years.
Wow. Okay. So when he
15 years.
calls you and says, I've given you their phone number, I've given your phone number to them, what was your reaction? Were you totally open to it? Were you like, yeah,
Yeah.
you were
Oh,
open.
well, I was. I mean, granted, I think again, I think because Married at First Sight, that was the pilot season, so no one had seen that ever before either. So it wasn't like he was like, "Oh, it's for Married at First Sight." It was like some Atlanta's project, whatever. And so I was just like, "Sure." And I went through like all when people use Skype, you know, went through like all the Skype interviews, and they sent me the contract. Like I was in. They sent me the contract, and I read fine print, and I was like, wait a second. I knew the concept, like Married at First Sight, you're walking like the first episode is you walking down the aisle and marrying a
Oh
stranger.
my gosh.
And I just read that. Like I don't think it was ever like there in my face kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, no. That doesn't seem like something I want to do right now. So I just wrote them back and was like, hey, yeah, no, this is not for me. I'm sorry that I wasted your time, but can't do it. And anyway, so that was that. Never heard from them again. April 2018, I get a phone call from Santa Monica, California, and hey, it's so and so from Kinetic Content Casting. We still have your file. We have this project. Are you still single? And I was
Wow.
like, yeah, I am.
Wow. So was that a little
Yeah,
like gift from the universe saying like, okay, this is meant for you. Like this is
yeah.
experience you're meant to go through.
Oh yeah,
And from
yeah.
that phone call to starting to record, how long was that
Right.
process?
So I got that phone call in April, and we started in October. So six
Six
months
months.
process.
Okay. So take us through the recording, whatever you can share, because this isn't
Yeah,
like,
of
and
course.
I have to say, like, that franchise has, like, the fact that that was 2020 is insane. Like, the amount of seasons in, like, US, but also
Yeah.
I've been binging, like, the global Love is Blinds, right?
Oh,
I actually
right.
just finished. I'm waiting to watch the reunion for Love is Blind Italy, and that's like I actually really enjoyed this one. It was so fun.
Funny. I have honestly, I want to say maybe I watched a couple of episodes of the Brazil one,
They are.
but I haven't watched any
You
other
haven't?
ones.
Okay, the Brazil. I was gonna say they are spicy,
I heard.
right?
I
Oh,
heard that was good, and I think I connected with. I started following, and he follows me back now. But one of the guys from the UK.
okay. There was a cutie on the UK, and I'm like fully married, been for many years, 2 kids, but
Right.
there was a cutie that they're no longer together on the UK one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you start recording. What is that
Mhm.
like?
Um, it was. I would say okay. So like the pods itself, it felt like when you were younger, and of course we had no FaceTime. There
Yes.
was no way for you to connect via video, right? So it's like talking to your crush with your, corded phone
Yeah,
still, and going into the basement to sneak to talk to them on the phone after your parents have already gone to bed. Like
totally.
it kind of felt that, like the butterflies, the giddiness, like, oh my God. And because you really were establishing connections with many people. I had a handful of strong connections in the pods, three in particular. And every single time, like, it was just like, wow, like, I didn't think I would connect with anybody.
Right.
Like, I went into it with that mindset of like, yeah, this is gonna be a fun experience. Like I mean, I wanted to be an actress when I was younger. So I'm like, TV, let me be on TV. That'd be great. So I think that was like more of my mindset of like, yes, I'm in a really good place because I had 2017, about a year prior, I like 180'd my life.
Okay.
So I like left corporate America for the first time, pursued my coaching and like just contract kind of work, and traded going out binge drinking
Yes.
for listening to podcasts and reading personal development books and that kind of thing. So I was definitely in this like self-love journey, and I was just like, why not? Like, why wouldn't I do
Mm-hmm.
this? Like, I feel like I'm in a good place for a relationship. I've obviously been single for, at that point, 5 years. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I would love to see how this would go. But there was still this like idea that I'm not going to connect with anybody. Like, I'm
Right.
too picky. There's no way I'm going to make a connection. And yeah, I had a handful of connections, and it was awesome. My connections, I mean, we were very vulnerable. I think we all cried to each other.
Wow.
It was just very, I don't know, it's like you felt emotionally safe, probably because you weren't seeing them face to face.
Yeah.
So you felt like you could, express yourself. Granted, I'm a very vulnerable person regardless, but I mean, to have the men open up the way that they did and share, family, like challenging family dynamics or struggles that they've gone through, it was just very powerful of a experience in that regard. Getting engaged through the wall, that was next level.
Wow. Like, and
And it's not in like 30 minutes. Like we've gone on so many
yeah.
dates with these men. Like, I mean, I think it's like 8 or 9 days is like the stretch of the pods. So what you see on TV, like I said, it looks like 30 minutes, but
Yes.
it's like 9 days, and you may have two dates that day with that same person. So at the end, you're having 8+ dates. And in the real world, in 8 days, you're not having 8+ dates with someone.
Exactly. And like, how many hours are you in there with one person?
I think our max date was a little less than 2 hours.
Okay.
So an hour and 45 minutes, I think, was like the max length. But you could have talked to them in the morning for an hour and a half. So technically, it could have been like, 3, 4
Three, four
hours almost that
hours.
you.
It's like rapid and accelerated, and like you mentioned, vulnerable, especially with people going in with the right intention. What's fascinating
Yeah.
for me is, so you had jumped into the world of personal development before going on the show, right? Which I
Yeah.
think is beautiful, is powerful, because being on TV and this scale and this magnitude of visibility, if you
Yeah.
enter that without the work, it
Yeah.
could go so much different. And so
Mhm.
when it aired and you already had some foundational, intentionally and consciously building and working on yourself and shaping your identity in this next chapter you're stepping in, what was it like with the airing? Like, what were some things you learned about yourself? What were some things that you could really see, okay, like this is such a blessing of an experience on this journey that I'm on, like with
Mhm.
myself, really, because you did it for you ultimately.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I would say, so before filming, yes, I started like my whole personal development journey. I had never worked with
Yeah.
someone until after we got done filming, and that is what changed a
Okay.
lot for me. Just having that one-on-one. Like I hired a business and mindset coach, and I always joke because I'm like, you did more for my mindset than my business at the time, but she did all great things. But I had never really done like somatic work, but also subconscious reprogramming.
Right.
That stuff was just foreign to me. Granted, I'm sure that's what I was doing while I was reading the books and listening to the podcast, but I didn't feel the transformation as much, that evolution and that like, whoa, like awakened feeling,
Yes.
right? So when I started working with her, things started radically shifting for me. I would say though, when the show aired, although yes, I had some type of awareness around everything, I refer it to like the energetic match.
Mm,
I was not an energetic match to hold the energy and the audience at that point.
wow.
Um, I mean, not to say like I lost it or anything like that, but I got very, like, it definitely affected my mental health. I mean,
Yes.
I started like, I had never really been like a perfectionist when I was posting. I mean, I grew a solid following, like, a solid, probably 8, 9,000
Yeah.
followers, before going into the show from my coaching and everything. And, it was, I never double, like I never second guessed what I was ever posting. I would go show up on my stories every single day, like talking to my camera. Like I didn't think about it. I'm just like, I'm growing a brand. This is what I'm doing. This is what I like talking about. And then when the show aired, it's like I was in one foot in this reality and one foot in another reality.
Wow.
Like I could not get a grip on things. Like I would share about my coaching and everything, but then I'm over here creating brand, collaborations and, content creation for a brand that I may or may not have been aligned with.
Right.
And there was like no synchronicity, or maybe there was, and I was trying to, it's like a lot of like this like lack, needy, scarcity energy that
Mm.
was coming from me, like just insane people pleasing. Like, oh, I came from, like, my identity had completely shifted. I mean, granted, we filmed in 2018, the show aired in 2020. So it's like 15 months had gone by. I worked with this coach who I want to say like quantum leaped my brain, so like my identity was evolving, but like my physical reality hadn't caught up yet.
Yes.
And I wanted to, when I got done working with her, I was like, I want to do what you're doing. I want to do this business mindset coaching. I want to transition my entire business from like nutrition and fitness coaching over. And I started to like, create the content around all of that, money mindset and everything. And my engagement started dropping. So that didn't feel good. And I was like, okay, well, obviously at the time I didn't think about this, but I'm like, well, obviously, of course it does, because people are coming to me for meals and workouts, not
Right.
what the heck is she talking about all of a sudden, So the engagements kind of started bothering me. My business wasn't shifting. I probably wasn't fully embodied and integrated in the work yet because I had just learned it. But it was so fascinating. I was like, everybody needs to know about this. But yeah, when the show aired, it's like, okay, it aired and titled me as a health coach.
Ah,
And
you're
I was like, that's who I was, and it's not who I am right now. And so
yes.
there was like a lot of me that was like, okay, well, to please the masses. And plus, people had seen like I had had an actual physical
Yeah.
transformation too.
Yeah.
Like I had like 10, 15 pounds from the show, from when we filmed to when like the reunion happened. So I was like, okay, like kind of give the people what they want, which was good, but I felt a lot of resistance around it, but I stuck with it for a few years. I mean, it's been maybe nearly 2 years now that I like completely stopped doing the health coaching. But it was so much and a lot. And I felt like almost getting into the victim mindset
Yeah.
of like, comparing myself to my other castmates who, maybe they had like a million followers and I had like the 400,000 or something. And I'm
Right.
like, Chloe, you have 400,000 followers. Like, shut
It's
up, kind of thing.
insane. Okay, I want
But I'd
to
be like, oh, they got like 50,000 likes on their post, but I got five.
well,
Like, it was crazy how it messed with my head so
oh my
much.
gosh. And like my first reaction is like, I just want to give you such a big hug because I can, like, I had Jillian Harris on the show and she had a very similar story with The Bachelor when,
Oh, yeah.
this mental health conversation, like, no one can, other than your castmates, like, we can't really
Right.
relate. We've never
Right.
gone through this experience. And so I'd love to really dive a bit deeper into this identity work because there
Yeah.
is an integration period. And so you had consciously started to do this work and you had
Hmm.
the coach, you're listening to the podcast, you're reading the books. And this is always step one of our personal growth and evolution journey. But it takes time to integrate. And I know
Yeah.
that time span reality of integration is frustrating because it's like, I consciously know and
Right. Right.
yet there's so much untangling and undoing. And then you are then faced with this exposure that
Yeah.
everyday humans will never experience because like Netflix is a whole other ballgame. We can have 100,000 followers on Instagram, but compare that to a show like Love is Blind on Netflix or The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. Like this is instant fame as we call it in
Yeah.
our society. And like you
Yeah.
said, to be able, like I have goosebumps, like to really hold it, but in an embodied way, like how the fuck do you even do that? And this is why you had
Yeah.
to go through everything you went through to today be the embodied version of what you knew, like mentally and consciously, what you wanted to do. And so I see the full blessing in it, but I can like, I, I just want to hug you for what you experienced because I can only imagine how difficult it was and in the public spotlight. And
Yeah.
so you're kind of in and out from these two worlds right? Like your old identity, which is being promoted. So you're getting business, right? Your
Right. Yeah.
experience growth. And then your soul alignment is like this truth of like, I know where I want to go and how I can serve people.
Right.
So
Yes.
when did you fully step into this version of you that is today? And like, what were some things that you did to allow
Yeah.
it? And also like, thank you for that experience to give you the exposure that you have today.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, like people are like, "Oh, would you do another show again?" I'm like, "Absolutely," because I feel like I know how to hold it now.
Yes.
Like I would know how to show up differently, how to really like think to prepare for like the airing of it.
Yes.
Like I would know to like have this brand manager, have this public, like I would have the right people in
Team.
place to support me, whereas I just didn't have that. And
Yes.
I was like, when our show aired, I was working a different corporate job. So I've been like in and out of corporate because I'm like, I have to have some like nervous system regulation
Yes.
and like consistent income, right? So like I work 9 to 5 now still too.
Yes.
Um, but that job that I had when the show first aired, I mean, I was making like $38,000 a year.
Wow.
And so basically paying my
Yeah.
bills. And I had 30K in debt. So when the show aired, I'm like, awesome. And like in my head, I'm like, great, my business is gonna super, like, it's gonna take off, like all this stuff. And although it did in some ways, my nervous system was so dysregulated, I couldn't show up consistently.
Yes.
So it's like, yeah, I may have had a 10K month this month, but then I had a 0K month the next month. And so I was like almost also relying on the collaborations from brands, which was great. But I used that money to pay off all my debt.
Yes.
And yeah, maybe I like throw myself $100 here and there,
Yeah.
but otherwise, like I did that. And in hindsight, I wish that I had actually quit my 9 to 5, rode on the brand collaboration
Went
money,
all in.
paid off my debt whenever I could have,
Mm.
because it was like I was struggling that whole time because I didn't have extra money to breathe.
Yes.
And I wound up having like a year to the day of our first episodes airing, I had 2 panic attacks back to back because
Wow.
I was constantly on. I was so exhausted from everything. But anyways, to get to your question, when I fully stepped into it, it has been this last year.
Wow.
Like
Huge.
it has taken me, and when they say like healing is not linear, it's
It's
not.
not.
Like there there are still like in it, the ego still tries to keep me safe. Like I know when like I will feel resistance around something, or I'm like, Kelly, but then I'm like not shaming myself, but I'm like, Kelly, you know what to do.
Yeah.
You know what this work is. And it's not, again, it's not that I've been shaming myself, but like I will see other women talking about the same thing that I have learned and integrated into my body. And although, yeah, again, it's kind of like my physical reality hasn't caught up yet, but like my mind is there. Like I
Yes.
did an activity at some event over the summer, and it was kind of like a money activity. And I got to like $2 million or something like with this thing. Do I have $2 million? No, I don't.
But
But like
you
whatever
felt
this like
safe with it.
felt safe
Yes.
with it. Like it was basically like if you had to make this amount of money, and he went from like $100 to
Yes.
2,000 to 10,000 to 50,000, like all this, and he was going up the ladder. And when I got to 2 million, I stopped, and I was like, after that, I didn't think that I could like, I didn't know how like the money
Uh-huh.
could come. But I was like, I am so well plugged. If I like threw up a GoFundMe or something, I would freaking make that $2 million,
Yes.
like easy, easy,
Let me
But
let
anyway,
me just ask you this. So when you, because this is such important work, and I actually did this at the beginning of January, and I had such a brilliant conversation with a dear friend, and I said, we started talking about universe and quantum field and manifestation and all these things, and it's like there's no judging. God, universe, it's not like you get $1 million, you get 10. It's all like we are the co-creators of our reality. But it's
yeah.
interesting, like this work is so powerful because we are the ones
Mhm.
who block or allow it from coming in
Yeah.
or out. So I'm curious for you, anything under 2 million and 2 million, how does that feel like in your body? And anything above it, how does it feel? Because that's really the somatics. Like we just need to feel
Right.
it. And
Yeah.
anything above it is interesting because you also are so worthy of it, and yet you are the only one. Like no one's blocking it from you, right?
Right. Yeah. No, it's so fascinating. I mean, yeah, up until 2 million, like it just felt like there was a sense of like
Ease,
ease
yeah.
with it, right?
Mm.
And then at 2 million, it just felt like There's an obstacle. There's
Yeah.
something in my way, and it's hard.
Hard. That's the hard, and your mind, like the how, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. How, and that's exactly what I just said. I was like, after 2 million, I was like, well, how would I make?
Yes.
Wait a second.
And this is how we
How would I do
take ourselves out of this field of possibility by like just
that?
tapping back into our human and into our head and literally
Yeah.
blocking anything and everything that we do desire. And so, yeah, it's so fascinating. So, tell me a little bit about the nervous system work, because
Yeah.
this is such a key piece of it. It's like we are wired for safety and survival. And so, one is like holding the visibility, right? So
Right.
with this airing of the show, you now have so much exposure and your whole
Yeah.
like your life is like this is me world, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what did that do for you in turn like within your nervous system, and then what have you been working on since, like somatically, some of the different practices?
Yeah. It felt like a roller coaster that I couldn't get off.
Wow.
I mean, it really was like up and down all the time. Like I'd feel really embodied and empowered, and I'd like channel a great message or whatever, and I'd put it out there and fine. But then it was like the metrics
Yes.
screwed my, got with my head. And I was like, oh, like that was so powerful. And like, do people just not understand? Why doesn't the algorithm pick this up? Like what? It was just so confusing for me. But it has felt like I'm proud of myself because people may have been like, Kelly, maybe you should have like taken a step back from social media during that time to like get yourself recentered and everything. And I just never did, right? Like I consistently have shown up every day. People have probably, I've probably, may have lost some trust with some people because they're like, okay, she says she's this, but she's not doing like the knowing doing gap kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like I know this, but I'm not doing it kind of thing. So I'm sure that I've lost a little bit of trust, but I also am proud of myself for continuing to show up and showing people the journey
Yeah.
that I've been on. Because I will have people like reach out to me like that have followed me from before the show aired, and they're like, I've just witnessed your journey, and like I'm a longtime follower of yours, and I'm just so proud of who you are and who you're becoming. Like it's really neat to witness that. And I'm like, I feel seen. Thank you.
Yes. And I
You
like
know?
I fell in love with you because the conversations you're having, I listened to your pod with my dear friend Danielle, and I was like, yes, like it, like for me this is the journey. It's this expansion and it's reinventing ourselves over and over again. And I'm just not into purely pop culture. Like I'm here for the growth
Right.
and expansion.
Yeah.
And so I loved witnessing that from you and being so vulnerable, but not just like, oh, dated, broke up, like, the superficial
Right.
shit. Like I'm just not into it. And I was thinking this too, getting ready for this interview. And, you know, and I hate to say it, but I'm going to say it because it's all about vulnerability and being really open. And I watch Love is Blind to numb my brain. Like I really do. And that's always what I said is like, I have been into
Mm,
personal growth since 2010 consciously. Like this is when I chose to devote to my self growth. And then at night, it's 9:30, I put my kids to bed and it's been a long day. I put on Love is Blind. But then
yeah.
I was like, holy shit, but these are real humans having a real experience. And then I meet someone like you who really has done it consciously, like with awareness. And your mission has been to grow and evolve and bring goodness to the world. And I'm like, so thank you, first of all, just for being you. Like, I think that's really, really, really special. And I just like feel for me personally and like, take it as it is. But like this last season for me was so painful to witness. And this is where I was like, was it a decade ago? Maybe I was just younger and before kids when I first started watching this, but I wasn't. I already had two kids when it aired 2020. And it's like,
Wow.
and it's really like reality TV. And so like, yeah, Italy kind of sealed the deal for me recently, but it's like I knew I would connect with you because of the journey and the vulnerability that you've shown, and your people are going to resonate with you. And that's why not everyone's going to listen to the show. And maybe we won't be bought out for, gazillions of dollars because we don't talk about like sex dating and like, that shit.
Right.
And that's okay. But
Yeah.
back to you. I just had to rant that because I was like, They
No, I
really
love
are
that.
real humans. And it's like, and you're being exposed to the world. And the fact that you're like, okay, I had to do this work, and yet you've taken us on the journey, like, that's only like plausible, you know?
Yeah. Thank you.
So, vulnerability, like the power of vulnerability, what have you learned about that through this journey?
Um, gosh.
So much.
I know, like so much. I mean, it's getting just radically honest with yourself. I mean, there are times like, I mean, I'll find myself in, you know, situations, whether it's dating or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I know that this is not aligned with my highest self. I know that this is not like what I'm desiring. This is not in alignment with that, you know, and I'm like, but God, I want that. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I want that today. So it's just a lot of like being honest, communicating with myself and having that conversation with myself, being vulnerable with myself. I mean, if you can't be vulnerable with yourself, how can you be vulnerable with other people, you know? And just truly communicating. I had a conversation with a guy over the weekend, and he was just talking, a guy friend of mine, and he was talking to me about a situation, like a dating situation. And he was like, yeah, like, at the end of the day, I guess I just never called the girl back. And I was like, why do you do that? I'm like, why don't you just communicate? And he was like, I mean, yeah, I get it. It's like avoidant, you know. He's like, but I guess it just feels better to do that. Like, it would hurt less to do that than to like be
Be
honest. And
honest.
I was like, no, it would feel better for you to just be honest. Like,
Literally.
I would rather someone tell me, I'm not into you, I can't afford a relationship right now, like whatever the case may be, because then I know the truth, or somewhat of the truth of why, versus just being left on red, or you know, not having a conversation about it. I'm just that type of person that I've had guys ask me out or be like, hey, like, can we go on a second date or whatever. I'm like, I honestly wasn't feeling it.
Awesome.
I'm going to say it the way I mean it, because I don't want them to feel like, was it something I said? I'm like, no, just didn't, I didn't feel the connection. Like, that's it,
And
you know?
energy.
And I just feel like everyone just has to be vulnerable with themselves. And I mean, there's so much power in vulnerability and storytelling. Like, you really are healing parts of yourself, but you're also healing parts of other people when you are doing that. And I think that that's like, again, I said I feel like I've always been vulnerable, but I probably did take it to a next level because I'm seen by so many more people
Yeah.
now. And you know, and people will call me out on stuff. Like, I'll say something and like contradict myself a week later, and they're like, "Oh, but you said this." I'm like, "Oh my God, guys, calm down."
I'm just having a human moment, okay?
We can change our minds. It's okay. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. But you asked me about like somatic stuff, and um my first experience was with breathwork. I did a session. Well, I was at, I don't know if you're familiar with Angie
Of
Lee,
course,
but
she's
I
on the
did,
pod too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she was like my first coach as far as like a group coaching
Okay.
program.
She's an
First podcast I listened to.
love. She's hilarious. I've actually known her since 2013, and we just reconnected at Sam Skelly's event in San Diego. Yeah.
Yeah.
Small
Okay.
world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So Angie held an event called Pays to Be Brave back in 2018. It was actually during filming. I told production, I was like, I already booked this. I'm not missing it. And I left for a weekend.
Did you bring the
So that's
crew?
what no, they didn't come, but it was really funny. They did record us a little bit, like while we were like if I was FaceTiming Kenny, like they would set things up so that they could do that. But granted, y'all, no one would notice this, but there were some situations where Kenny and I were not there. Like, if it was like a group setting, filming, we weren't there because of me leaving. It put us like a day behind, so we couldn't go. And so like there was like a big like blowout at one of the events with the whole group. We weren't
You were
there,
there.
and we were like, not that we wanted to be a part of the drama, but we missed that filming day. So we couldn't talk about it because we weren't there and everything, but that's why, because I went to Angie's
Did you
event
tell
and it put
Angie
us
you
like,
like did Angie know you were filming?
I don't think she did, but this girl Erin, who I wound up hiring as my personal one-on-one coach, I told
Okay,
her
I
that
love
I
that.
was.
You should tell her. I'm gonna text her and tell her.
I'm like, maybe I did, but I don't
I
know if
love
I
it.
did, if I ever did. Yeah, she'll Instagram message me here and there,
So
but
good.
um but it was Samantha Scully. She did a breathwork session at that Pays to Be Brave on like a
Okay.
rooftop of the hotel that we were at. And so I got, and it was maybe like a 15, 20 minute, but I was able to like drop in as much as I could. I cried a little bit. But then Erin, she got certified through Samantha Skelly's
Yes.
program, Pause. And so I started working with Erin in December. That was like the whole like whoa awakening for me. And then she got certified the next year. So in 2019 was my first like one-on-one breathwork session, and she was in San Diego. I like literally laid on my guest bedroom floor with the Zoom on, and she performed it through Zoom. And I had never experienced something so crazily powerful in my life. Like I mean, I did the cat clawed. I did like all because it was the
Wow.
triac, and I was crying as if someone died in front of my face. Like I was could not like snot everywhere. Like it was just a very unattractive sight. But I was freezing. I had a blanket on, but I was freezing. And when I like came to and everything, sweat. I was just so sweaty, but I was so cold at the same time. It was like the most crazy thing. But I felt like a guy that I had kind of been hanging out with that just like wasn't working out. Like I felt him like hug me at the end of it. Like it was like a soul hug. Like everything's gonna be okay kind of thing. And we're still friends to this day.
Oh
So
my.
it did. But there like I've had some like family dynamic challenges, and I just remember telling my parents like I just felt like this like let go, like this sense of just a weight lifted off my shoulder, and I just have a lot more peace around this family situation now. And granted, that was 6 years ago, but um, ever since then, I continue to do the breath work, and I don't do it all the time, but I know how powerful.
Yes.
Like every time I cry like that, I mean, it's I go
Really?
deep, and I know because I know the faster you breathe, the deeper you drop, and the faster you drop into your body. I'll do it myself. Like if I'm like, let's say I went to a retreat where this girl was facilitating, a different girl was facilitating, and I knew exactly what. So I started doing it, and she came by me and she put her hands like on my shoulders, and I was like,
You want to
no.
go
She thought I
deeper.
was. I think she thought I was like hyperventilating or something, and I was like, no, no, no. Like I know what I'm doing. Like I want to go deep because I want to get the shit out of me. Like
Yes.
I want to process emotions. I'm also an impatient healer, so I have a tendency to like shame those parts of me to be like, oh my god, heal faster. Like we just want to feel great, you know. But it's just been fascinating. I mean, I went through Aaron does somatic like certifications, so I did like EFT and NLP and like all of that. So I do have certifications in it. I can't say that I'm like super embodied in those, so I am not necessarily like EFT. I'm a lot more I guess, expert in in a
Yeah.
sense. Like I could do that, but I would have to like go back to like my trainings and kind of
Yeah, and do it.
revisit that stuff in order to hold that in a session with someone. But I mean, technically, I'm certified.
It's so powerful. And I have to say, so Sam was also on the podcast. She takes us through a little breath work at the very end. But I have to say, when I look at resistance, I mean, resistance is always speaking to us. And for me, like that fast paced breath work, I feel like a resistance towards it. And it's exactly that is because I don't know what's on the other side of it. So the fact that you allow yourself to go so deep, and really that's what it is. It's like how do you even say that? Unsticking those
Yeah.
sticky emotions that like how long have they been there in our physical body, and through breath work we can
Yeah.
get it out. And like what Sam has created with pause breath work is incredible and so like divinely guided and timed. I was like, you are so meant to do this and you're so good at it, and the amount of people she's impacted through breath work is so beautiful. But I love that. Before we go into some rapid fire, I'd love to just ask you about like becoming her. So consistently like recreating this version of you that's on this journey of evolution. So is it something that you journal, that you like, what is your practice of doing that? Because like you said, who you are today is not who you were in 2020. And yet, I mean, we love on every single piece and part of
Right.
us. It's always part of us, but evolution for me is the goal.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of journaling, and just, even just like being out in nature and just being with my thoughts, kind of like
Yeah.
auditing where I'm at. Okay, is that action or is that thing in my house even, in alignment with where I want to go, who I want to become, the type of woman who has the dream house and the dream business and the dreamy boyfriend, like is she showing up? And if she's not, like, it's literally just an active conversation with myself that I have, whether it's through journaling, like I said, or just kind of ranting
Yeah.
to myself. I listen probably every day to a YouTube video from like Bob Proctor or Wayne Dwyer, Napoleon Hill, or like David Bear. I've been like binging his content. Kathleen Cameron sometimes. I just Florence Scovel Shinn, Abraham Hicks. Like I listen to those things to just keep my mind fresh and to hear a different perspective. Like I'm like, wow, and it's interesting. Like I went to a empowerment event back in June, and I honestly, it was a colleague of mine. She sent me the link back in like April and was like, hey, like, you need to be here. And she's like, big mindset person. I'm like, fine. I didn't even know what I bought. Like, I literally was like, fine, just send me the link and I'll go with you. So I get there and it's this gentleman and he's teaching everything I've been taught. And I was like, I can be the one up on that stage right now.
Yes.
And I'm here because I've held myself back.
Yeah.
I need to be there. So 2026, I'm going to be there
Yes.
and I'm going to be teaching things.
Yes.
And lo and behold, I have already booked a keynote for,
Yes.
and the girl, I mean, she's a friend of mine here in Atlanta, and she's like, you're going to talk on mindset. And I was like,
Yes.
it's
I
here.
love that. So it's
And I'll
one is like deciding, like, what is it? What is
decide.
it that you desire? Who do you need to be in order to become to have that, right? It's be, do, have, as we all know.
Right.
But then for me, it's also the process of just feeling it, because sometimes these
Yeah.
goals, dreams, desires feel so big that they start to not feel safe in the nervous system. So then that's when the
Right.
somatics comes in, and it's really like feeling the abundance
Yeah.
and the safety in the abundance. Like that's been the big work for me too, is like, okay, you can hold this. You are worthy to hold this just because you are. And oh, it's such
Yeah.
this I love that.
Because yes, it's like I do all of those things, right? And it's presencing and it's like expanding the capacity to hold even more. And like honestly, like I got like a it was probably like $6 or something that I got from like Facebook, like Meta,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, yes, this is great. Like you're celebrating the $6. I'm like, amazing, Kelly. See, it's
This
just all paying off right
This
now.
is
It's so
it.
good
If you
for you.
can't celebrate the $6, how are you going to celebrate the $6 million? Like this is a
Yes.
universal law. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So good.
exactly.
What is let me okay. We're going to rapid fire, but I wanted to ask just personally, I don't have this in my notes, but I'm like, what is the dream? What is the desire? What is the vision for 2026?
Yeah. Vision is to go out on my own on my coaching business. I love my job, but I got bigger fish to fry.
Yes, you do, girl.
So doing that, calling in the boyfriend, and I think I would really enjoy doing. I mean, more speaking. I want to finish my book. It's
Oh.
been 5 years in the making.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we're gonna hold you accountable. This is the declaration. Maybe you just need like a writer's trip and just go by yourself. And the intention is to write for a week, whatever streams through is meant to stream through. With the boyfriend, how specific are you with who you're looking for?
Pretty
Okay,
specific.
good.
I mean, I want to feel emotionally safe, obviously physically safe too, but emotionally safe. Cared for, chosen, provided. I just really that was one thing with Love Is Blind. It's funny because the producers brought this to my attention when I like within the first days of filming, they asked me like what I'm looking for in someone, right? We started with the physical characteristics and then I listed everything else. And at the end, they asked me on my final interview, they asked me the same question. And I switched it around and she was like, do you realize that you said this backwards at the beginning? So that's how we know that this was working.
Wow.
Started with like the characteristics and the qualities that you're looking for in someone and how you want to feel with that person versus their physical, tall, brunette, whatever,
Yes. Okay, and now I gotta ask. So that scene where like the door opens, like
Yeah.
holy shit, how are you feeling before the door opens?
Oh my God. Okay. So I got punked twice before the door opened. So I got up there, I'm shaking, quivering, like my knees, I think it pours on my legs. Everything was shaking. I'm like, I'm so freaking nervous. And all of a sudden, like Vanessa and my like stage producer come through the back door, and I was like, they're like, sorry, we're like having like a technical
Oh
difficulty
my God.
with the camera, like, with the cameras. And I was like, okay. And they're like, it's fine. Like, just give us a few minutes. We'll be good. So they come back and they're like, okay, we're ready to go. Totally good. They go out again. I'm shaking. Maybe not as much as I was prior to, but still shaking. I'm like, oh my God. Few minutes go by and I'm like, oh my God. They come back in the door behind me and they're like, I'm so sorry, but we have to break for lunch.
No.
I was like, wait, what? Because they're clockwork. They're like union workers. Like they have to
Right.
like follow their timeline. And I was like, the
You're like, I
hell?
can't wait or eat or like what?
But it was so funny. I was starving and I literally ate an entire thing of food. I was like, I'm so hungry, so that's fine. But then, so they're like, okay, now it's for real this time. I'm like, for real, for real. Vanessa's like, I'm so sorry. But yeah, so the doors open. I wasn't shaking as much. I think it did calm my nerves a little bit, but the doors open. I thought he was attractive. I wasn't like, whoa,
Uh-huh.
like totally like sexually attracted to him, but we got together. It was more nerve wracking because it's like this really long red carpet. We're both walking towards each other, and along the red carpet is literally like just
Oh
cameras.
my
It's
God.
just
That to me like feels so
fire.
awkward.
So awkward. Like, and if you look back, like you will tell, like you can tell Kenny and I are kind of like turned a little bit with our backs to because we were like, this is
Oh.
so like it's our first time meeting. Like, yeah, we've like been talking to each other, but like connecting the like voice with the face
Oh
and the
my
body,
God.
like everything was just weird. But he kissed me. He was like, "Can I kiss you?" And I was like, "Sure." And so he did, which also was kind of weird, but also it was like a really good kiss. And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, I like this." So I was attracted. I definitely thought he was handsome, and I was attracted to him. I just was my initial reaction wasn't like, "Shit, he's hot."
Right. So like what
So
percentage? Okay, one is love blind. Like, is it?
I think love is blind to yourself,
Yeah.
like your self love, and many of us are blind to that.
Yes, that's so good. And it's like you do, like, yes, there's that deeper connection. I love the idea of starting with that. And there needs to be a physical attraction.
Has
There
to be.
has to be. And so I
Yeah.
wonder, like, from all these seasons, like, how many people are actually not attracted to each other at all? I wonder.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh,
Because
for
you need
sure. I mean,
both.
you do. You really do have to. And I don't know that either. I mean, I feel like well, this is gonna come off wrong, but Jessica from our season, she was 34, Mark was 24, that whole situation. Um, she was the villain. She is absolutely the most lovely person. So it was a lot of production narrative that
Editing.
sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of editing. So that stunk, but it was really funny. I knew Mark before going onto the show.
No.
Like when we were in the pods, he said something about him being like an Orange Theory trainer, and I was like,
I like,
I didn't say anything to him, but I was just like, we've met because we were in the wellness and fitness community here in
yeah.
Atlanta. So I was like, I know who this is. So anyways, so I told Jessica because she was like, oh, these are like my top three like people. And I was like, yeah, I know who Mark is. And she was like, well, can you give me a hint? Like what he looks like? And I was like, well, that's defeating the purpose,
Yes.
you know? And I was like, so no, I'm not going to. Like, I want this to be a true experiment. But then she was like, well, can you tell me this? Like, is he like Kelly Ripa's husband? And I was like, absolutely not. Like, no offense to Mark, but I was like, I couldn't be like, yeah, oh yeah. And then that him come out and she'd be like, fuck you, Kelly.
Kelly lied, literally.
Absolutely not. That man is a god. No.
Oh my God, so good. Okay, I agree. It's a duality. You need both. But I do love that you start with the connection. I think that is
Yeah. Oh, I do
beautiful,
too.
powerful, and somehow this generation of dating should embody that. I have no freaking idea how.
100%. I agree. Absolutely. Connection all day.
Connection all day first.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna rapid fire it up to close this off. So, first question: a mentor you'd love to have dinner with?
Melanie Lair.
One belief about love you no longer subscribe to.
That love is hard.
One belief about money you no longer subscribe to.
That money is hard.
Yes.
No.
None of that. A daily practice you can't go without.
Stillness. Presence.
Do you play pickleball?
No. I mean, I have, but no. Not regularly.
Would you go on Love is Blind again?
Yes.
And what's your definition of prosperity?
We are prosperity, and God runs through us. So it's just all connected.
We're just prosperous. Like literally.
Yes, we're prosperous.
Yeah.
We are prosperous.
So beautiful. Is there one message that you'd love to leave women with who are listening to this show?
Yes. Really get honest with yourself about the type of life you want. And don't feel bad for wanting big, great things, because you deserve big, great things.
So good. So good. Where can we find you, Kelly?
Yeah, you can find me. I hang out mostly on Instagram. It's at Chase Life with Kelly. My podcast, Chase Life with Kelly. Also YouTube, Chase Life with Kelly. Website, chaselifewithkelly.com. And I had an identity crisis with TikTok, and that's I am Kelly Chase.
I was going to say, you're so consistent. And then almost. I love it. Thank you so much for your honesty, your authenticity, and for spending this time with us. I'm so grateful for you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me on today's episode of the Prosperity Playground podcast. If this conversation sparked something in you, be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts so you never miss your weekly activation. If you enjoyed the conversation, please rate and review. Your feedback helps us reach more souls just like you who are ready to calibrate to their most prosperous life. Know someone who needs this frequency boost? Share the episode to Instagram and tag me at _Anna Lozano so we can grow our energetically aligned community together. And please remember, true prosperity is about alignment, freedom, expansion, and embodying your worth. Start today. I'm Anna Lozano, and this is the Prosperity Playground. See you on the next activation.